Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and today we're going to do a fun little video on the 33.3 window. So we've been doing a bunch of suspension and steering and stuff, and I wanted to break some of that, not monotonous, but just not as rewarding work up and work on something on the inside of the car. So today we're going to work on is the 44 dash that is in this car. Was narrowed and put in the car back in the day and was in it when we got it. I'm going to try and figure out a way that we could fit some gauges in this and maybe make a gauge panel or whatever, but I want to, by the end of the video, have the gauge layout or the dash itself figured out for how we're going to do gauges. And I don't know what I'm doing yet, but we're going to take you along for a ride. Hopefully by the end we have something pretty cool. We'll see, or we'll just cut the dash in half and throw it in the trash. Who knows? Let's get started. Alright, so I got my patterns cut. We're going to go upstairs. One of the reasons we've been excited, or I've been excited to get the upstairs going, is I can have all my parts for builds in one place. So pretty much most of the stuff at this point has been moved up here. Got a little bit of stuff still at the warehouse, but for today's project, which is gauges, I have 99.9% of my gauges in here. So all kinds of old gauges, and I probably still don't have exactly what I need. But what I wanted to do is get you guys set down. I'm gonna dig in here and use my patterns to see what gauges we can fit, whether I need more gauges or, sorry for bouncing you around here. All right, so got my patterns here. I drew out, just the shape of them on this chipboard, just so I have an idea of what the opening is and what we could fit. Because they narrowed this dash so much, I can't fit a ton of gauges in here, so we're gonna have to be very thoughtful with what we put in these locations without making it so crowded you can't get the gauges in and out. So, obviously, we definitely want a speedometer of some type. That's one of the main things. And then the other stuff is a fuel, water temp, and oil. Amp gauge would be nice, also a bonus. So I kind of like, I'm looking at all my gauges here, these for the era of the build. Like I have a full gauge panel here that has all these it has all these crescent needle type gauges in it. I got some spares here. And I think with the era that we're building the car to, might be pretty cool. So this is like a military surplus one, I think, here. So this is got a good look to it for what I'm doing with the car. I think this is pretty cool, but that's got, those crescent needles are really neat. I got a ton of extras I've been stashing forever, and I'm hoping we can use them. So we got, let's see, oil pressure here. I do have a crescent needle tack here. That's pretty cool. It's a little worn, but it's pretty damn cool. I don't know what I have for speedometers. That's probably going to be the tough one. So we may just have to use another speedometer for just shape and size. Let's see. All right. All right, so I was digging through my gauges, and what I thought I was going to use didn't end up not having a good match that I liked. I found these gauges
actually 32 Oldsmobile. I bought the gauge panel at the LA Roadster show, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And for years I've been gathering all the pieces to it and swapping out gauges to get nice ones. And now here I am stealing the gauge out of the... So I'm thinking, I like the tan face, crescent needle. I mean, it's really close to fitting in the opening. So I'm kind of thinking I might recess the panel back and fit it in here, because the opening's just not big enough. Either that or I could notch the dash a little bit, but I might just set it in just a little bit. So that one seems to be really close.
At least the dash is easy to get out. All right, so after messing around a bunch with the gauges, I looked at them overnight and decided that I hated that idea. So we're gonna go backwards here. Just fitting the gauges in, and I mocked up like how they would look, and then put two little gauges up in the top here where the radio would have been, and just sitting them there and standing back, the stuff wasn't looking right. The way they narrowed this dash, speaker hole wasn't centered anymore in the car, so looking through the rear window, the gauges were like it just looked not right, and I wasn't happy with it. So I'm glad I didn't cut real far into the dash. What I did find then, with me just kind of doing some research, is I've been watching a dash on eBay recently that's an old dash that was done to hot rod back in the day, and I really liked what they did, and I already have this dash. It fits the car pretty well. Just want to make it look a little better. So I'm going to use this dash, but what they did was, we could drop a photo in. They basically cut this little section, this end of the dash out right here. They cut that out, they moved it over, or they got a second dash and they cut just this section for the gauge opening out, and they laid it over top of here and welded it in. So what that does is give you one big rectangular opening that you could put an insert in that holds like a whole row of gauges. And not only will it be cleaner, it's also going to give me a full row of gauges instead of trying to fit just a couple here and there in, and I could go back to using like the store Warner gauges that I wanted to use originally. So so that's what I'm going to do now. So without having a second dash, and 44 dashes aren't exactly like easy or cheap to find, I'm going to cut this corner out and then section it in over here, and then we will make a piece that will roll over, and we could cut all this mess out and then butt weld everything in and get the same effect, just do it a little bit cleaner than the other dash that we saw, and then we can work on getting our gauges in here. But I'm going to work on getting this cut apart and see if we can get this looking a little better for this video at least. So let's get working. Okay. There we go. Not a big deal. That would be the idea. Move it there.
Mm-hmm.
That.
That's pretty nice, yeah.
And then we'll, get this line to line up with that little line there and there.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, like you said, like that hump right there.
Yeah, I think that'll be...
It sits nicely.
Yeah, like I said, I think if you can get it to where it looks like it's rounded in here for the glove box, it'll look very natural.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Okay. Putting in the trash or going in the right truck? Alright. There we go. Got a section a little more down there where I didn't cut. Yep, slot it right in that corner.
Oh yeah, it fits right in there.
Nice. And then this up here just needs some.
Nice.
That would be the look. And then you just, like we said, connect the dots here. And then I'll make a piece that rolls just at the top, and then make a piece, that rolls to the bottom, and welds in there, welds around.
Yeah.
I don't think that. And then I'll have to make a little doo-wop piece here that.
Yeah. Just
The shape was wrong with how that came out, so
Yep.
I'm gonna have to make a little.
Now that's going to be awesome.
All right, so move this over to the bench here and you can see what I'm working with. So I got this side all tacked in. It seems to be flowing pretty well here around with the glove box. I'm fairly happy with that. That end cap being moved over is pretty cool. And then what I did is just took some round bar stock and put that where our opening's gonna be. I cut them to fit in, and you can see that's giving a rough idea if you squint your eyes how the opening's going to be, kind of through the center there. So what I'm going to do is first tack in the top here, get this sitting nice and flush, and just tack that all in, and then we will take some measurements and tack the bottom piece of round bar stock in, and then once those are kind of established, then we can start filling all the gaps. So I think I'm going to fill this, but I'm actually going to leave that open until we test fit the dash to see if maybe I might want to put some gauges there, but I think I'm going to fill that. And then I'm going to fill this whole bottom here with sheet metal, and also I'm going to be getting rid of that recess for the original steering column because we changed some of that, and it doesn't, with them narrowing the dash, it wasn't exactly aligned with the steering column itself perfect. So we're going to get rid of that. So yeah, looking pretty cool. I think the area with the glove box there, as you can see, that kind of is coming together nicely the way I'm piecing it in. So gonna tack the round bar and we'll do a test fit and see how everything looks.
door open?
Maybe not. Actually harder to get this side in than the other side.
Wow.
Oh, wow, fits even nicer.
That's because it was probably welding crooked.
It probably was. I had to fight that thing before.
Look at that. She's a huge Clark.
That's sturdy. Okay. Hooray. All right, so mounted the dash back in after sanding off 90% of the old black paint. We found that this dash was probably something they grabbed out of a junkyard or something before they started working on it, even back in the 50s. Maybe early 60s, we're not sure, because the dash had all kinds of pitting and rust underneath of the paint, kind of telling me that this was an old dash that they grabbed from somewhere and cut it up and put it in a hot rod. So it took a lot of work to get everything welded up and sort of fitting and flowing. It still definitely could use some work. There's definitely dents and dings and issues and things like that, but overall I am really happy with how it looks, this opening and the way everything flows over here. It looks pretty much like it could have been that way stock, which is pretty satisfying. And of course I filled in this bottom area where there was a recess for the column shift to come up through. Because we're not doing that, we obviously were able to get rid of that, which was pretty cool. So smoothing up all the dash in this area really cleans it up and makes it look pretty darn cool. So I'm going to work on in the background testing what gauges I want to run and deciding on the insert. We were going to try and do that in this video, but really I need the time to sit back and kind of figure out what gauge combination I want to run, figure out what kind of insert we want to run, etc., etc. But I know it's going to be kick-ass. Whatever we pick, it's going to work out good, and I'm definitely happy I changed gears and didn't just force myself to work with what was there, because this looks a lot cooler and a lot cleaner, and it will allow me to use a larger amount of gauges in here, which will be pretty cool. So that's it for this one. Big update on the 33 window, getting the dash together and starting to work on gauges. It's kind of exciting. It's almost like we're thinking it might be a car sometime soon. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.